Hello and welcome to Tea is Good, Books Are Better, the podcast where we drink tea and talk about books. I'm Raven.
And I'm Jess.
And I never know what to say afterwards.
Right? Like, and you're like,
There's a bug on your book.
bitch. Flies.
Got bit in the lip earlier. Don't want to get bit again. Okay. Did I ever tell you about the time some guy tried to pitch his TV show to me?
What?
No.
And why?
Okay. So I was going to school, and there's like this parking lot a block away from the school that's like for extra parking. Like if our parking lot gets full,
It's
people
free?
can go there, and it's free. So
Damn.
I park there all the time. Like I don't mind walking one block to get to the school.
Right.
Because I don't want to pay for parking. That shit expensive.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So sometimes they have a shuttle that goes from there to the school.
What?
For the lazy kids, I guess. So one time the shuttle was there and it was about to leave, so I was like, why the fuck not? So I jumped on, the doors closed, and I was the only person on the shuttle. And so it starts to go, so the shuttle driver starts talking to me. He's like, oh, what are you taking? And I said, creative writing. And then he starts going off about this show idea that he has and like pitching it to me like he wants me to write it or some shit. But it was like a game show.
Oh?
I was like, it was not a good idea. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I remember just being unimpressed. And also, what am I gonna write in a game show?
Right?
Right?
I think he probably was like so brilliant at tell other people.
I don't know.
Maybe that's the best way.
It sounded like he wanted something from me. Like he wanted me to help him with it. It was really weird.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so the whole time he's like telling me this idea and he's like, it's a good idea, right? And I was like, yeah. So I had to do that the whole way to the school.
Yeah, that's why I do this.
Yeah, it literally was. Every time from then on, I would just walk past the shuttle like really fast. Yeah, never took the shuttle.
Wow,
again.
that is so awkward. I don't even know what I'd do.
It was really awkward.
Smile and nod.
Yeah.
Like, one time on a bus, I was seated beside an old man. He was reading a newspaper, and he turns to me and starts going off passionately about how prostitutes need rights.
Okay.
That's what I was like. I was like, yeah. Looking around for help.
Yeah, it's like, what are these people thinking? They just want to be validated.
Probably.
They've got, like, no one else in their life. And I mean, it's sad, but
Now he
also,
feels
like, maybe there's a reason why they've got no one else in their life. You know what I mean?
Socially awkward.
Yeah, they clearly
Don't know the time, place,
don't
can't read
understand
people.
boundaries. Yeah. You don't fucking do that shit to a stranger. It's just so weird. Anyway. What are we drinking, Jess?
Rooibos?
You're saying it worse and worse every time.
It's like I forget every time, and it becomes less and less of a word.
Let me try and find out how to spell it.
Rooibos.
How to pronounce it.
Rooibos.
Oh, yeah. So remember how I said Rooibos was a... Wait, let me say it.
Rooibos.
Rooibos.
Rooibos?
Rooibos?
Say it again.
Rooibos.
Rooibos tea?
Rooibos.
Okay, so Rooibos. So you know how I said it's a fake tea? That's because it is a fake tea. An evergreen South African shrub of the pea family. An infusion of the leaves of the Rooibos plant is often drunk as a tea. But it's not. It's a pea.
Wait.
It's a pea and not a tea.
Shut your face. Shut your face.
Why? It's a fun fact. Tea is literally made from a tea plant. Rooibos comes from a pea plant. PEA. Peas.
I'm one of those people who's like, if you boil ginger, then it's tea.
Okay, but it's not technically tea. It's fake tea.
It's flavored water through boiling. It's tea.
All right. So, let's begin. Okay. Stop sniffling. You literally sniffle so much.
You know what? You stop.
Stop what?
Breathing. Catelyn is this chapter. Winterfell is built on top of natural hot springs, and Cat's bedchambers are the hottest. I did not know this. And this is a really cool fun fact.
That it's built on top of hot springs?
Yeah. There are dozens of small pools and courtyards around the hold that keep the temperature neutral inside of Winterfell.
Survive. Yeah.
Damn.
That's how they live in that cold.
Damn.
I didn't know that either. Makes sense though.
Cat and Ned finish doing the do, and she hopes that she gets preggers.
How does she want another kid?
Right?
She has 5 kids.
But she wants another. Ned rolls off of her, and after looking out the window silently, he declares he will refuse King Robert. Cat argues he cannot. While Ned insists they are best friends, Robert loves him. He will never harm him, but Cat counterchecks, saying he knew the man, and pride is everything to a king. Soon, King Robert will suspect Ned secretly opposes his reign if he refuses him, and she wants Sansa to be queen as well. Another argument. She's only 11, Ned argues, and Cat claps back that she was 12 when she was promised to Ned's brother, Brandon. Ned bitterly admits that he wishes Brandon was alive and Lord of Winterfell, and that he never asked for this responsibility.
So Ned doesn't want his position. Perhaps this is what makes him a good leader.
Oh.
Eh, John?
Oh.
Eh, John?
Eh, John?
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 John, you hear me?
The door knocks. Maester Lewin.
I'm sorry, the door knocks?
Yep, the door knocks by itself. Maester Lewin needs an urgent audience. He says while he was napping, a small box was left on his desk. He suspects one of the king's troops. And inside of it is a glass lens and a secret letter meant to be read with this lens. This is so, like, secretive.
It's, like, way more complicated than it was in the show.
Yeah.
There was no box in the show.
It was just this freaking
Just like, here's a
strip of letter.
Yeah.
Ned asks for it, but Maester Lewin says it's for Cat. Cat notices the moon and falcon seal of House
Aaron.
And knows it's from her sister Liza. She opens it, reads it, and goes to the hearth to start a fire, burning it. Ned asks, "What the hey?" And Cat explains that Liza has accused the Lannisters of murdering Jon. Aaron.
Think of the name Aaron.
Okay. Ned, even more shocked, declares Liza must be sick with grief. But Cat knows that the amount of calculating and effort that went into this letter shows that she must know what she is talking about. Or at least she, like, truly believes what she's talking about.
Yeah, because it wasn't just in a box. It was under a false bottom in the box.
Oh, right.
And it was written in, like, their secret childhood language.
Right! And you need a special lens to read it.
And that. So, a
Like,
lot of steps
it was so
taken.
secretive. Cat looks at Ned. Now you have no choice. You must go south with Robert to protect him from the Lannisters. And Maester Lewin agrees. Ned, eyes wet, laments.
Yeah, Cat says to go with Robert and be his hand. And Maester Lewin agrees. But in the show, Maester Lewin thinks that Ned should go, and Cat does not want Ned to go.
And right in the beginning, she's telling him he must accept.
Yeah.
And he's the one who doesn't want to.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting the difference that they chose to have this kind of conflict between Cat and Maester Lewin. I do think the conflict in the show gives the scene more tension.
Yeah.
And I like it better. So there's that. Maester Lewin is kind of like the devil on one shoulder, and then Cat is like the angel on the other shoulder of Ned in the show. And then that scene kind of ends as Ned is making his decision. You can see it in his face. He's deciding. And then that's how the scene ends. But in the book here, it goes on because he makes the decision right there, obviously, because they're both of one mind. And then it gets more into what the ramifications will be for the children, I guess. So I do think it's interesting for the book, but yeah, I imagine that scene being in the show and it does not make sense in my head. Like, can you imagine watching them just like talk about where the kids are gonna go? Like,
no one has time for that.
Yeah, so it's a good example of like what works in a book might not work in a show.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
He tells Kat she is to stay in Winterfell with Robb, and there must always be a Stark in Winterfell. Robb is to be included in every council, and Luwin is needed to teach him leadership. Rickon also needs to stay, because he's a baby. But everyone else is going with Ned down south. Maester Luwin asks about Jon, making Kat tense and angry. She knows it's normal for men to father bastards, but she found it offensive when, after the war, Jon and his wet nurse had already taken residence in Winterfell before she and baby Robb got there. She is angry that Ned wouldn't talk about it, and all she had were rumors and gossip from Ned's soldiers.
I really like getting this perspective.
Yeah, because before I was like, why does she hate him so much? Every guy does this.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I really like this.
The fact that Ned doesn't trust her with who the mother is and stuff, like, I can see her holding this resentment and anger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since the rumors and gossip probably got way out of hand. Kat tells Ned that Jon cannot stay. She will not stand for it. But Ned, really upset by this, says that he cannot bring a bastard south to High Court, that it would be offensive to the royal family. Maester Luwin pipes up that Benjen had come to him that Jon wants to take the Black. Kat is pleased, and Ned is concerned that it is a big commitment for a 14-year-old, but times are getting harder, and winter is coming.
Winter's coming, beach!
Winter is coming. That's all I got.
I love how defensive Ned is over Jon.
Yeah.
Kat is super, like, I don't want that fucker around me. And then Ned's like, he is my blood. That's all you need to know. And I was like,
Take that!
Dope.
Who's next, Raven?
I'll tell you who's next. Beach. It's Arya Beach.
Arya.
Alright, chapter 7, Arya.
Yeah.
Arya and Sansa are sewing together, with a few other young girls, under the guidance of Septa Mordain. Princess Myrcella is also there, and Septa Mordain is giving her all the attention. This is a relief for Arya, though, because her needlework is looking pretty sloppy. Sansa's is perfect, as always. Arya sees Sansa whispering to her friend, Jane, and cuts in to ask what they're talking about. Sansa admits they're talking about the prince, Prince Joffrey, and just how handsome he is. Arya says Jon thinks Prince Joffrey looks like a girl. Oh my god, I love Jon. And Sansa says Jon is just jealous because he's a bastard. Then Arya shouts that he's their brother. Her loyalty to Jon is just so sweet.
Yeah.
I already want to see them interact to get a sense of their relationship.
Oh.
So cute. The shout gets the attention of Septa Mordain, who comes over to check Arya's stitching, and she basically says that it's crap. So Arya starts crying and sprints out of the room, saying she has to go shoe a horse. And this is a shocking phrase to hear for Septa Mordain, apparently, but I can't figure out why. I don't know what it's supposed to mean.
Right? I have no idea what that means either.
Let's look it up. Shoe a horse. It just shows a bunch of ways to shoe a horse, for real. I literally can't find anything.
Maybe working with horses is men's work?
Yeah,
Stable
it's definitely
boys?
a blacksmith's job. I guess so. To go shoe a horse. I don't know. Yeah, I guess she feels like she's more suited to that sort of work. Anyway, can't figure it out. So, it seems like Arya is pretty envious of Sansa. Sansa is beautiful and talented in all things and looks like their mother. Arya, however, takes after their father and is only good at riding a horse. which is ironic because Jane's insult for her is horseface. Arya comes across Nymeria, her direwolf, who hurries toward her. And Arya appreciates that her wolf loves her when no one else does. I know, it's so sad, but also so real. Like, I felt like this a lot when I was a young teenager. All I had was Lobo. Nymeria is named after the warrior queen of the Rhoyne, who had led her people across the narrow sea. And Arya is disgusted by Sansa naming her pup Lady. So, definitely already getting a sense of Arya's character. And we're like 2 pages into her chapter, and I already relate to her the most so far. She's nearly 20 years younger than me. Obviously, in fiction based in medieval times, it's going to be difficult for characters to escape gender roles.
Definitely.
But I love that Arya doesn't conform.
Yep. It doesn't feel good to her. So
she's like, fuck this shit.
She doesn't try.
Yeah. Love that. Arya knows the boys are at practice in the yard, so she goes there to watch. Jon is watching as well and invites Arya to come join him, even though he knows she's supposed to be working on her stitching. This is the scene that comes earlier in the show, I believe, which is used to introduce the family.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Interesting that it falls in such a different place than
Well, no, wait, no. No, it's completely different. They're not working at bows. They're playing
but
at
it is
swords.
Yeah, and it's not with the royal family.
Yeah.
Either. But I kind of, like, this is where they plucked it from.
Yeah,
I see, this is where they got
this area.
Yeah. As I was reading this, I do remember thinking that I was really glad and relieved that we get the interaction between Arya and Jon so quickly.
Yeah.
Because he kind of sets up that they have a closer relationship.
Yeah. They're really sweet.
Yeah. So I was like, I want to see that. And George is like, okay, here you go. So, much to Arya's disappointment, it's the younger boys who are dueling in the yard. Bran versus Prince Tommen. I guess she likes to watch how vicious the older boys can get.
The more skilled.
Yeah. Arya wonders why Jon doesn't seem to be involved, and he explains because bastards are not allowed to damage young princes. Any bruises they take must come from the true-born children. And Arya reflects that life isn't fair. Mm-hmm. She really sympathizes with Jon. After watching the boys for a bit, Arya thinks that she can do better than Bran, but Jon says she's too skinny and probably couldn't even lift a longsword, which offends her. Then Jon points out Prince Joffrey standing on the sidelines, and how the coat of arms on his chest shows both the Baratheon stag and the Lannister lion. And Jon says the royal sigil isn't good enough for him. His mother's house is equal in importance. Arya protests that the woman is important too, and after some back and forth, Jon ends up saying that girls get the arms but not the swords, and bastards get the swords but not the arms. It isn't fair, but he doesn't make the rules. Down in the yard, Robb starts getting into a fight with Joffrey. Joffrey's bored of swinging around play swords. Robb is prepared to duel with real swords, but Sir Roderick, the master at arms, will not allow it. Sandor Clegane, the muscled man with the burned face, who is apparently Joffrey's, bodyguard, steps in and insults Robb, and there's a lot of derisive laughter from the surrounding Lannisters. Robb is furious, so there seems to be a bit of a rivalry between him and Joffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, Joffrey and his crew leave, and Jon tells Arya she should head back before she earns an even worse punishment. Arya doesn't think it's fair that she has to do needlework. She obviously wants to sword fight with the boys. But Jon says nothing is fair, and they go their separate ways. And when Arya gets back to her room, both Septa Mordain and her mother are waiting there for her. But that's where the chapter ends. We don't get to see what happens.
I liked the several times where Jon teases her and then ruffles her hair whenever she gets upset. Mm-hmm. I thought it was so cute. And Arya also mentions that she and Jon look the most like their father, while the rest look like toys, like cat. Yeah. Another reason why they feel so close.
Why she feels so close to him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
And cute.
That's a really good observation. There's a lot of times where she thinks that things aren't fair.
Yeah.
And Jon also talks about it quite a bit. So it's kind of like she gets that from him.
Yeah.
But it's cute that he feels like he can open up to her about, feeling like things aren't fair.
Yeah. I think their relationship is really sweet.
It's so sweet. I love it. Okay. That's the end of Arya's chapter.
Bran.
Chapter 8.
Bran. The king and Ned. The king and father, with a troop of people have left to hunt for wild boar. Bran is very excited to see the Red Castle at King's Landing, and he is more excited to meet the greatest living knight, Sir Barristan Selmy of the King's Guard. Bran plans to be a knight one day, and he wishes to be one of the King's Guard, because they are the best of the best. It's the last day before they leave to King's Landing, and he's supposed to make his farewells. He tried, but almost cried, saying goodbye to his pony. That was it. That's funny. He hasn't named his direwolf yet.
Yeah.
Rob's is Grey Wind. Sansa's is Lady. He doesn't remember Arya's, just that it's named after a witch queen. Rickon's is Shaggy Dog, and he's jealous of Jon's ghost. He wishes he came up with that name first.
Aww. I love that Rickon's direwolf is Shaggy Dog.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah. That's so cute. Oh, but also you missed the part where he thinks about Hodor.
Yeah, there was a brief Hodor.
A brief Hodor mention.
The brief Hodor. The stable boy.
Stable boy.
Hodor.
He's not a boy in the show.
But he's a boy in the books.
Yeah. Interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, another thing too.
Yes?
He mentions that he doesn't want to, like, go see Jon because Jon seems angry about going to the wall.
He wouldn't be
or
angry.
Just
be
angry in general.
He just says that his face, like, he seems angry to him, so he doesn't want to approach.
Yeah, so I was wondering why
Yeah.
Jon seems angry. What do you
I
think?
do too. Maybe he's misreading. Maybe he's just being serious and thinking, like, seriously about joining the wall. I don't know. Children, I don't think they're the best at reading adults. Well,
Yeah,
I guess
so
14-year-olds aren't adults.
You're right. Maybe he's not angry.
But he could be. I don't know.
About the Kingsguard. Bran also thinks about Sir Eric and Sir Eric.
Sir Eric and Sir Eric?
Yeah, Sir Eric and Sir Eric. One spelled with an E and one spelled with an A.
Ooh.
Who had died on one another's swords hundreds of years ago. When brother fought sister in the war, the singers called the Dance of the Dragons.
Oh my god, I remember saying that. I was like, what?
Foreshadowing?
Foreshadowing?
Reference to the 5th book. It's called Dance with Dragons.
Yeah. But I don't understand.
I wonder if there's like a brother versus sister fight in that one.
I know it was two dragons fighting because of the brother and the sister, the Targaryens, and like the two different knights fighting for the different ones. The Dance of Dragons were the fighting dragons in the sky. Interesting.
But also, Sir Eric and Sir Eric. One was a brother and one
Man,
was a sister.
I didn't even read. I was like, Sir Eric and Sir Eric. I didn't even realize it was Eric.
Eric and Eric. So they were brother and sister.
Damn. Yeah, they're both knights of the
So there was a
King's
woman
Guard.
who was a knight.
Wow. I was thinking it was brother and sister as in the Targaryens are brother and sister fighting. But I don't know.
Maybe I misread this. Now I'm not
Maybe
sure.
I misread this. I don't know.
I'm trying to learn the history. Okay, the sentence is: the twins Sir Eric and Sir Eric, who had died on one another's swords hundreds of years ago, when brother fought sister in the war the singers called the Dance of the Dragons.
Yeah, so like the brother and sister were on the dragons that were fighting, and Sir Eric and Sir Eric were on opposite teams, and they ended up killing each other. That's how I'm reading it.
But I thought they were the twins.
Because it makes it...
They were brother and sister.
But Sir and Sir, that means they're knights. Not... And they are twins. But the battle was about the brother and sister fighting. The battle isn't about the two knights fighting. The battle was the Targaryens fighting. And that these two legendary twin knights of the King Guard killed each other.
But they could have been King Aerys's Kingsguard. No?
I don't know. It doesn't say who the brother fought sister in the war when the singers called Dance of Dragons. I was assuming that the battle is about two Targaryens, a brother and sister, and Sir Eric and Sir Eric.
But why couldn't these Targaryens be the twins be the Kingsguard?
I don't think Targaryens were about to be Kingsguard because it's like
They
a
would've
celibate thing.
No? Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know what? I don't know enough.
I don't get it. Okay, anyway.
We are both reading it differently.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Because we're both probably wrong.
Maybe.
Anyway.
It's something completely different.
Yeah.
Bran climbs a tree and then climbs up Winterfell's walls. Bran suspects he knows more about Winterfell than even Maester Luwin from all of the secrets he has learned from the tops of the walls. His mother had once said that he was climbing before he started walking, and since he cannot remember, she must be right. His mother is terrified that he is going to fall. He once promised her that he will stop, but he only lasted a fortnight before caving. The next day, he confessed to his parents out of guilt, and his father ordered him to the Godswood for a day, and was found sleeping on the highest branches of the tallest tree the next morning. Even though angry, his father was amused and said, "You're not my son, you're a squirrel," and told him not to let his mother see him climbing ever again. He thinks his mother still knows, because old Nan has been telling stories of little boys who climb too high being hit by lightning, and Maester Luwin throwing a clay doll dressed as Bran out of high towers to show what happens, but Bran is unfazed. He never falls. So dramatic.
Yeah.
He is climbing up the broken tower to hang out with some crows, and it's his favorite place to climb. He likes to feed the crows corn. As he's climbing, he hears voices, and he is so startled, he almost falls. A woman is talking about how Lord Stark being Hand of the King is going to be dangerous, but the man disagrees, saying that he is too honorable. The woman says that Lord Stark's wife is sister to Lady Arryn, and worries that Lady Arryn might say something, but the man says that if she knew something, she would have already gone to King Robert. Bran is very frightened and knows they are talking about his parents. He wishes he can climb back. He thinks about telling his brothers what he heard, but he wants to see who is talking. Bran climbs higher onto a gargoyle, while the man says he is bored, and he hears the woman resist while the man is laughing. Bran sits on the gargoyle and spins upside down, holding on with his legs, and he sees two naked people wrestling against the wall. I love childlike descriptions of sex.
Yeah, obviously he doesn't know what sex is. So.
They're wrestling.
Yeah, that's why it looks like wrestling. But also, him dangling by his legs? What a little monkey! He's so brave. What's interesting, though, about this, like, childlike perspective is, I'm pretty sure George said in an interview that Bran was the hardest character for him to write.
Oh.
Because he's the youngest perspective character, so it's challenging to, like, get into the mind of someone that young.
I think he did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying in Bran's first chapter that he was your favorite chapter.
He seems so cute.
Yeah.
He notices they're kissing, and he recognizes the queen. He makes a noise of surprise, and she sees him. She screams, and he falls. He manages to grab onto the window ledge with one hand, so he's dangling. The man pulls him up with ease, and he recognizes her twin. The man asks how old he is, and Bran answers, 7. The man looks at the woman. "Things I do for love," he says, before shoving Bran off of the ledge. Screaming, Bran sees the crows circling the tower, and he hears a wolf howling in the distance. Thud.
So, obviously, I expected the scene of Bran getting pushed out the window, but somehow it still shocked me.
Right? It's so evil.
It's so sudden,
Whoa.
too.
Yeah, like, no hint. He just...
Like, there's no debate that Jaime goes through in his head or anything.
Yeah.
He's just like, bye, bitch.
He just acts.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
that's why he's such a successful killer in Night.
I guess so.
He just acts.
But yikes, that was like, the way that ends. I want to just read it, because I was shooketh. Screaming, Bran went backward out the window into empty air. There was nothing to grab onto. The courtyard rushed up to meet him. Somewhere off in the distance, a wolf was howling. Crows circled the broken tower, waiting for corn. And that's how the chapter ends.
Jeez. The whole, like, courtyard rushing up to greet him.
It's like...
That's scary.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like 3 or 4 sentences, but it's, like, it's so impactful.
Right?
And I don't mean that impactful.
Pun intended.
Oh, jeez. Anyway.
Tyrion.
Moving on to Tyrion.
Tyrion comes across Joffrey and Sandor Clegane talking. Clegane is saying that he wishes the boy would just die already, while Joffrey complains of the dire wolf howling all night. The Hound offers to kill the wolf, and Joffrey gets excited.
Oh my fucking god.
Tyrion steps in and tells Joffrey it's time he offered his condolences to Lord Stark and his lady. Joffrey doesn't think they need it, but Tyrion insists it's expected of him. I cannot abide the wailing of women, Joffrey says. And Tyrion slaps him hard across the face.
Yes!
I'm going to tell Mother! And Tyrion slaps him on the other side. Tell her, but first, go to Lord and Lady Stark.
Love that. Tyrion don't give a fuck.
Right. Holding back tears, Joffrey nods and runs away. The Hound looms over Tyrion. The prince will remember that, he says laughing. Tyrion says he hopes so, and he joins breakfast with his sister and brother. Tyrion orders his breakfast and asks about King Robert, and he learns that he stayed up all night with Lord Eddard. Tommen asks for news of Bran and sadly says that he doesn't want Bran to die. Tyrion tells him that he may get his wish. The Maester thinks the boy may live. The kids are happy, but he notices the look exchanged between the twins.
Just as observant as Jon.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Jaime...
They both have that in common.
They're both smart! Jaime asks for the Maester's exact words, and Tyrion tells him that it's been 4 days, and if he was going to die, he would have done so already. Myrcella asks if Bran will get better, but Tyrion tells her that his back is broken and his legs are shattered. He will never walk again. He speculates that the direwolf's howls are keeping Bran alive, and that the Maester said they once closed the window to shut out the howls, and Bran weakened. When they opened the window again, Bran's heartbeat strengthened. Thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Cersei doesn't like the wolves, citing that they're unnatural and dangerous. She doesn't want them coming south with them. Jaime says, fat chance, and Tyrion asks if they are leaving soon. Cersei asks if he is not joining them, and Tyrion says that he wants to journey with Benjen Stark to the Night's Watch, so he can stand on top of the wall and piss off the edge of the world.
Classic Tyrion.
The children don't need to hear this, says Cersei, and she leaves with the kids. Jaime looks at Tyrion. Stark will never leave Winterfell with his son on the edge of death. He will if Robert commands it, says Tyrion. Jaime says Stark should end Bran's torment. If it was his own son, he would kill him.
My fucking ass, Jaime.
It's cruel to let someone live as a grotesque cripple.
Oh my.
Speaking for the grotesques, says Tyrion, death is so final while life is full of possibilities. I hope the boy lives. I bet he has interesting things to say.
I love that. Tyrion's like testing the waters.
Right.
Like he can see something's off, so he's like, I'll say this and see what reaction I get.
Jaime darkly says, I wonder whose side you're on. And Tyrion says, brother, you wound me. You know I love my family.
Yeah. So, Jaime is obviously very aware of Tyrion's intelligence.
Yeah.
And respects him enough to know that Tyrion senses something is amiss.
Yeah. I like how Tyrion knows that his brother is kind of scummy, but he forgives him because Jaime is the only family member who's ever showed him any love.
Any sort of respect, yeah.
Yeah, so he's completely ready to forgive Jaime of his flaws.
Yeah.
Which I get.
Yeah, of course. The one person who's ever shown you respect.
Or love, affection, any of that.
Yeah.
You'll do anything for them.
Yep. Fun fact, George said in an interview that Peter Dinklage in the show best captures the essence of his assigned character.
Fuck yeah. You fucking did great.
Yeah. Except Peter Dinklage is a lot better looking than Tyrion.
He's a good looking dude.
Yeah. Also, fun fact number 2, Peter Dinklage was the only actor that the showrunners actually sought out to play a character.
Oh!
Yeah. The rest were cast through typical means.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, they actually wanted Peter Dinklage for Tyrion.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Like, the second that the showrunners were like, is there anyone you see as Tyrion? George was like, Peter Dinklage. And then they got him.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
well,
cool.
like, what roles do small people really get if it doesn't
Little people.
specifically say for a little person?
I guess so.
I feel like it's, like, the same issue with, like, some other people of, like, race who can't get roles unless it's, like, a stereotyped race role.
Right. Which is obviously a massive problem
Mm-hmm.
in Hollywood.
I can see little people probably having the same problem.
Yeah. But, I mean
Fantastic.
he enjoyed his role, so...
Well, he's probably just paved the way because he was so fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and also the character is more than just... Obviously,
A
him
little
being
person.
dwarf is a huge
You know,
part.
it's not a humorous, like, joke here for the jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's a real person with complications and a personality and... Yeah. Just like everyone else. Okay. So, chapter 10 is Jon.
Shit, I didn't read this chapter.
What?
I counted prologue as a chapter.
Oh. We can end it there then.
Okay.
I thought you said read up to Jon's second chapter.
That's 10 chapters. Including prologue. Ah.
Alright.
Alright, well, you're ahead by a chapter for me.
I am. Okay. So, I promised more talk on the subject of characterization in this episode because we've finally read the chapters that I want to comment on. The exceptions to strong characters. First is Robb. He's proud and quick to anger, it seems like, but so far he is the flattest character out of the bunch. He's very basic, like, Lord's kid.
I feel like it's probably because he doesn't have his own chapters. But you just get other people's perception. Like, in the first chapter with Bran, I thought Robb seemed pretty kind, like his father, and sort of authoritative a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, he showed kindness. He had good thoughts about the Oathbreaker. Like, instead of thinking that he was, like, criminal scum, you know?
But isn't that what you would expect from the oldest of a lord's bunch?
I mean, maybe the oldest of Ned's bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think all lords are like that. I just think he's just a mini Ned.
I don't know. I feel like we don't really know much about him.
Yeah, I think...
Like, I feel like I know Princess Marcella more than I know Robb.
What?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Obviously, we would get to know the perspective characters a lot quicker than anyone else, but
Yeah.
even Sansa at this point has more to her than Robb. Like, she's also kind of one note at this point. We've only really seen her through the perspective of Arya. But yeah, there's, in the chapter that you didn't read, Jon and Arya agree that they, like, can't tell Sansa about something, and I think that says a lot about Sansa's character, and, like, even if we haven't had her perspective yet, I feel like there's
Gossip
ways we
girl.
can, get a lot about her.
Preteen girl.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, that's fine. I think Robb's pretty flat. You disagree. Also, Sansa is a perspective character, right?
Yep. We haven't gotten to her yet.
Yeah. I wonder when her first chapter will show up. So far, Dany's had one chapter. Tyrion has had one. Ned has had one.
Tyrion has had, one.
I read 2 for Jon, but you only read 1. And then Catelyn and Bran have both had 2.
Yep.
Makes me wonder how George chose which perspectives to take on for each chapter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming he tried different ones, and there's a bit of trial and error until he found the one that made the most sense for the flow of the story.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I think that would be a really interesting topic of conversation with him. About
Yeah.
his process.
That's interesting. It's not something I really thought about. But damn.
Or maybe he just knew which ones he wanted to do. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe each one told him, I'm next, me.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like, I don't know, Arya's chapter could just as easily have been told from Sansa's perspective. It just depends on the information that he wants to give us. If he wants to give us the relationship between Arya and Jon, then it has to be Arya.
I think you wanted also to introduce Arya as feeling alienated.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Arya is going to get a bigger role than Sansa. I don't know. Maybe she does more things in this book.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe she
Actually,
stirs
yeah, I
up
think
more
so.
plot points
I think so.
in this book than Sansa does.
Mm-hmm. So, this whole book is supposed to be the whole first season, right?
Yeah.
I see.
I think the third book is actually 2 seasons melded in together. I think it's season 3 and 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they started running out of books.
Mm-hmm. I like this book.
Yeah, me too. I'm really enjoying it so far. Honestly, every chapter's a treat.
Right. Man.
I love how quickly the story moves.
There's so much in each chapter, and they're freaking small.
Yeah. And still manages to get all that characterization in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it just seems so effortless.
Right. But we know that it takes him eons to write a book.
Yeah, true. I guess that's why. I mean, it takes work to make something look like it doesn't take a lot of work. Okay. So that's the end of this episode. If you want more of the podcast, please check us out on Instagram at Tigbab Podcast. You can also follow us individually. My handle is Crimby. Jessica's is just.egan24. You can find us on Facebook as well at Tigbab Podcast again, or just search T is Good, Books Are Better. Page should pop up there. Also, please check out Bahram Barami's YouTube channel. That's Bahram. Last name spelled the same with an I on the end. Yes, that's his real name.
That rhymed!
Oh, did it? I feel like I've done that before.
I just knows it now.
But yeah, he made our jingle at the start of this episode, and he makes really dope music, so please show him some support. And you can also contribute to our Patreon. You'd really be helping us out. We desperately need a new microphone. A second one, actually, because we're sharing one.
Yeah.
And it's super awkward and weird.
Is it? I like our time together.
There's also a bunch of rewards on there, so you will get something in return for helping us out, if you want to do that. Alright, so thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Jess?
Yep. Ditto.
Jesus.